damit herzlich willkommen zu der zweiten Showcase oder beziehungsweise zum zweiten Tag. Herzlich willkommen zu dem Black Voices In-Game Showcase. Wir sind gespannt, was hier wieder für schöne, wundervolle Games angekündigt werden. Wahrscheinlich auch wieder richtige Trash- und Indie-Games. Aber wir lassen uns überraschen. Auf jeden Fall, wir sind gehypt. Das ist noch die Folge Showcase und danach gehen wir sowieso zu Sony rüber, wo ich mega gehypt bin und immer noch battle dafür, dass da Hype kommt. Aber ja, wir lassen uns überraschen, was die bringen. Wir erfahren es ja jetzt gleich in 10 Sekunden. Ich hoffe, ihr seid hype. Ich hoffe, ihr seid ready. Ich bin's auf jeden Fall. Die erste Showcase hat nochmal gut geliefert. Die Mix Summer Games. Schauen wir mal, was die hier liefern. Let's go!
What is happening, my people? My name is Justin Woodward, co-founder of Black
Ach du Scheiße, Digga.
The Mix and the nonprofit Experience Studios. It is a scorching, sizzling summer, and we're kicking the door, waving the fofo with our annual Black Voice in Gaming Summer Showcase for 2026. Our mission is simple. We help support and celebrate developers through grants, network connections, publishers, investors, platforms, and of course, the community of you guys and the culture. This BVIG, we're
Ich hoffe, ihr
proud
habt
to
Sound,
showcase trailers,
Chat.
interviews, and gameplay sessions with some dope developers. Before we get started, we want to thank our sponsors, Raw Fury, Aurora Broadcasting, No Rivals, The
Ja,
Best,
da
and
kennt
our
man wieder die ein
broadcasting
oder anderen
partners,
Marken.
Summer Game Fest. Thank you guys
Oh,
for
Summer
supporting
Games
us.
spendiert
IGN,
da.
Twitch, GameSpot,
Okay.
and Steam. Yes, Steam.
Lol,
Please
Twitch?
wishlist
Sponsor?
or purchase the
Okay.
games you see in the show through the QR code.
Bin
that
mal
pops up.
gespannt.
We are coming up on our 3rd year with the XP Fund, where we help fund grants through an accelerator program that will get these games made. If you're interested in supporting these games through charity, please follow the QR code on the screen when it pops up. And if you're interested in investment opportunities, please hit us up as well. Without further delay, I'm going to pass the mic to Lori and Curtis Baxter to get into the first game.
Thanks, Justin. My name is Curtis, and I am joined by my incredible host, a fantastic content creator by the name of...
Hi, my name is Lori, and I'm so excited to be here today with you, Curtis.
Ach, Content
for all of
Creator
the trailers,
machen da
all of the
diese
announcements.
Podcast-Dinger oder
I
was?
know, I think it's going to
Showcases.
be jam-packed, so I don't know about you, but I want to get right into it. You down with that?
Lull.
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
Hey, my name's Graham. I'm a Jamaican game developer, and this is my cozy island builder, Our Lands. It's a game focused on creativity. No pressure, no rules to follow, just pure vibes. It's up to you to create whatever kind of island you want to make, whether it's a lush forest campsite or a vast deserted island. Our Lands has dozens of things for you to decorate your islands with, and once you take a break from building, even more things are waiting to be found. Just poke around. There are a ton of delightful surprises for you to experience. Now, once you think you're done, show off your hard work by making postcards and sharing them with your friends, because good things should always be shared. Day or night, rain or shine, come and craft your
Ah, das ist wieder so entspanntes, chilliges Game. Baust deine eigene Insel.
A princess, once beautiful beyond wonders of the flesh.
Digga, Castlevania?
Now crawled the earth as her demonic mass, lifeless.
Irgendwie erinnert es mich gerade ein bisschen an die Anana-Musik. Bisher hat es mich jetzt an Anana-Musik erinnert. Aber ist es Castlevania oder so? Ah, nee. Was? Battle? Horny? Steht da Battle Horny? Bet? Horny? Steht da Bet Horny? For real? Also ich hoffe, ich habe mich da verlesen. Ja, so ähnlich, ebenso ähnlich wie Castlevania. Aber die Musik hat mich stark an Anada geändert. Also an den Anime. Falls ihr den nicht kennt, guckt euch gern den Anime an. Anada ist ein schöner und auch brutaler Anime. Aber kann ich euch nur ans Herz legen. Kann ich euch nur ans Herz legen. Das ist so ein Gambling-Anime, okay. Gambling-Anime. Gambling-Game. Kickstarter. Digga, ist das Pixelmoon 2.0? Kein Plan. Ich kenne mal Kickstarter, was ist das?
From Mandinga Games. We are indie game developers from Salvador, Bahia, Northeast Brazil, and I'm the lead developer of Black Sailors, Bay of All Saints. I'm here to tell you a bit about the game we are building and why this story matters so much to us. Black Sailor is an adventure RPG with tactical turn-based combat. It's a story during the colonization of Brazil back in the 19th century.
Brasil, spielt das in Brasilien oder was? Brasilien,
seized control of a slave ship and became pirates, fighting back against the Portuguese colonial oppression in the Bay of All Saints. It's a decolonial game. That means we are shifting the lenses here. We are so used to seeing history and games told from the perspective of the conqueror or the explorer, but in Black Sailors we flip that logic. We take the power out of the hands of the colonizer and put it in the hands of the enslaved and oppressed. One of the things that drive us is how history is taught. Even in Brazil, our education is often very Eurocentric. We were taught at school that our country was formed by Portuguese, indigenous people, and Africans, as if African was just one big homogeneous block, but that was not the case. The African diaspora was formed by several different ethnicities: Yoruba, Bantu, Fon, and many others. Each had their own unique culture, cosmology, and customs. Some were even rival back in Africa, but they were forced into the same struggle here. The colonizers actually thought mixing different ethnicities would prevent revolt. It's important to understand that Black Sailors is built entirely from an Afro-Brazilian perspective. Our culture is incredibly rich and rooted in African ancestry. But over centuries, we lost the clear lines of what came from each ethnicity. In Black Sailors, we are creating an alternative story exploring what it would look like if this
Oh, das
Afro-Brazilian
juckt mich
identity
einfach
was
alles
forged
gar
in
nicht,
the
bin ich
fire
ehrlich.
of a pirate rebellion.
Juckt,
We didn't
das
want
Spiel
to
juckt
just
mich
make
gar
generic
nicht.
African rebel
Darum bin ich da
characters.
ganz
That's
so
why we are
abwesend.
collaborating with historian, a specialist in African diaspora in colonial Bahia. We have researched these specific ethnicities to create characters with real distinct
Sorry,
motivations.
ich
So in
krieg
the
das da
crew,
gar nicht mit,
you will
um
not
was es da
just
richtig geht.
find generic Africans. There is a Daomé warrior, a blacksmith from Oyo, a hunter from Ife. You also find people with very different motivations. Some of them just want to go back to Africa. Others want to build a full-scale rebellion and dominate the Bay. And some have lost everything and are driven just by revenge. These clashing motivations create a dynamic conflict between them that evolve as you play. When the
Es
game
juckt mich
begins,
ehrlich
they have
gesagt noch nicht
just
so
taken
ganz,
control
das
of the ship. They
Piratengame
don't
da.
know each other yet.
Ist
But
in
they
meins
quickly
wie
realize
Fans
they
okay,
will have to
aber
overcome
sonst
their
für mich wieder
differences
nicht.
if they want to survive. Your role as the player is to manage this crew and assign them to specific functions on the ship. So, if you want the ship to move faster, you need to put more people on the sails. If you want the ship to shoot back, you need to put more people on the guns. This is how you play your revolution. It's a turn-based strategy experience divided into two phases. First, the planning phase, where you manage your crew, analyze enemy movements, track enemy bullets, and decide your strategy. Then comes the resolution phase, where you watch your decisions play out in real time. As your adventure continues, you upgrade your ship and crew and rescue more people who join your cause. We just announced Black Sailors to the world, and the reaction was intense. We saw a lot of backlash from people who treated the simple act of portraying enslaved people with agency as some kind of agenda. But the supporters
Digga, der labert jetzt aber nicht eine halbe Stunde Kack-Game, oder?
Audience of players who are hungry for stories that step outside the Eurocentric power fantasy. Black Sailors is for everyone who wants to see history through a different lenses, a lens of resistance, humanity, and freedom. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait for you all to sail the Bay of All Saints with us.
Danke. Wollte schon sagen. Hab mich jetzt auch nicht gecatcht.
All right. Well, that was an incredible trailer for Netcode Warriors. I am joined by my co-host, Derek Fields, and right now we also happen to have the CEO and game director of Sun Studios, Segun Oshede. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad to be here. How's everybody doing?
Doing well. Doing well. No, happy to be checking out this game. So, I mean, right off the bat, these are totally new characters, right? Totally new IP. Can you kind of walk us through the entire development process?
Yeah. So we've been working on Netcode Warriors since 2020. So it's been a hot minute. The kind of earliest days were a lot of ideation kind of phase. Like, what does this IP mean? Like, what is it about? Like, kind of figuring out some of the story and lore aspects and kind of honing in, like, how we were going to reference our inspirations and things like that. Once we were able to kind of communicate with Watanabe-san and Moriyama-san, so those are the guys from Japan who actually worked on the Digimon IP. Kenji is like one of the original kind of creators and designers of the Digimon IP. Once we were able to kind of talk with those guys and get more.
Also Chat, by the way, falls ihr euch das wundert, warum wir das uns auf Englisch antun, es gibt's leider nur auf Englisch, die Showcases sind immer auf Englisch, aber auch wenn ich kein Englisch verstehe und alles, ist für mich gar kein Problem, mir geht's ja nur um die Games, was du siehst, vom Trailer und so her. Und Release Day verstehe ich ja auch.
very
Der
talented
Rest ist
artists that
mir
help
so ein
shape the
bisschen,
artistic visions
ja,
of the game.
irrelevant. Das ist nicht so
You know,
schlimm.
my inspirations for art generally are always going to be based on my background. So I'm Nigerian. So for
Wäre
instance,
froh,
main
wenn die einen
character is
Untertitel
Yoruba.
hätten, aber
I'm
ich glaube,
Yoruba,
das
so
gibt's nebenbei,
Yoruba
oder?
tribe.
Nee.
That was important to me, but
Untertitel
also
doch.
bringing in some of the things
Nur
from
auf
my
Englisch.
childhood that really stood out to me artistically and stylistically. So very Shibuya punk and grind fiction inspired. You have a lot of like kind of streetwear and street culture kind of aspects that are kind of baked into some of the art and the especially the human characters, but then the transformations into these like larger than life like warriors. We call them code warriors. It's very Sentai inspired, very Power Rangers inspired. So those are like bring in a lot of like aspects of things I grew up with, like Mega Man Battle Network and you know, other franchises like that that really shaped the vision of like the IP and everything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, rock on. I mean, it's easy to see for me coming from like a similar background in terms of influences and the types of media that I was growing up.
Ah, Luigi, danke dir vielmals für die 5 Bits. Vielen, vielen Dank.
Netcode Warriors. There's something that you nudged on that I would
Dankeschön.
love to hear more about. One of my favorite topics is talking about cultural intersection.
Vielen, vielen Dank. Die Alerts sind aus während den Events. Also während solchen Showcases habe ich die Alerts aus.
With Japanese developers and artists within this project, and so can you expand a little bit
Aber
more
vielen,
about
vielen
what
Dank
it's like
für
to work,
5 Bits.
you know, truly as a globalized studio?
Yeah, so you know, the whole studio is remote. I've always said like I don't really care where you come from. I just care that you got heart and talent, right? That's it. I don't even care too much like how much experience you have, because I think it's very easy to fall into that trap when you're hiring somebody of, you know, that whole thing like, oh well, I need experience to get a job. How can I get a job if I don't have
Das Häschen
experience,
und sein
right? So
Häschenbettchen
for
sind
me,
in
it's just if I see
Treibjacke
passionate
raten
people,
noch
talented
dazu.
people, I tend
Sie
to
sehen
reach out to
Fuchs
those
auf den
and try to
Fersen,
see if
geschwind
there's like a way
verkriechen
we
sie
can
sich in
collaborate in
ihrem
certain
Bau und
aspects, certain
kuscheln
avenues.
sich in die
In regards
Hinterstecke und nun
to
fragt das
the
Hasenmädchen,
globalization
nun
of
bleiben wir
everything, yeah,
hier
like,
so
you know,
lange wir
people from
so
all over the
überzahlt
world, from
sind.
Spain, from Indonesia, animation team, the riggers, animators from Brazil, and you know, so like your team is kind of worldwide, you know, kind of by necessity, you know, like just because we want the best people that we can bring onto the project. In regards to working with the Japanese guys specifically, you know, definitely language barrier was, you know, kind of hard to overcome. You're like translating emails back and forth, trying to make sure that you're not saying anything that they can be perceived as like offensive and incorrect. You know, like you want to make sure you're culturally sensitive to whoever you're speaking to and kind of the background, especially some of these guys who are very well known in the industry for, you know, the kind of work they've done. So yeah, it was very important for us to always approach those conversations with respect and make sure that the people who we're talking with, that they're creatively and artistically being fulfilled by the work we're asking them to do. Yeah, I'd say that's kind of our general approach to how we do stuff.
So, I mean, in game development, we all know it's not easy, especially when you're running a team, and especially when you have a globalized team, like you do. Can you speak to a little bit of the
Gelaber,
challenges
Digga.
that kind of come up and kind of how you kind of
Also, nicht mal vorher haben sie so lange gelabert.
Yeah, you know, I'd be lying if I said I got this part down 100%. You know, I'm still growing, learning every day. Part of it is just, yeah, trying to be as flexible as you can with time zones. Time zones can be a big thing, right? Sometimes I just don't get a lot of sleep, you know, because I'm like talking with people in Spain who are 4 hours ahead, or Japan who are, you know, 12, 14 hours ahead, or whatever, right? So like sometimes it's me being up at 3 a.m. but needing to be up at 8 a.m. to do something, right? So that the reality is like sometimes, you know, it's a grind. It's really hard. It's difficult. It's mentally taxing. I'm sure my girlfriend would love to see me more. But, you know, at times, life demands that to achieve greatness, you must do great things, right? So yeah, I hold myself to a very high standard in regards to how I do work and how I operate and everything like that. And I can't expect everybody to put in 100%.
Digga, halbe Bibel, ganze Hurensohn.
110%.
Es tut mir leid, aber Real Talk, what the fuck, Digga?
I'm working on, that we're working on as a studio, you know, they're very important to me. I'm very passionate about them. To me, Sun Studios is poised to be like one of the next premier like fighting game developers, at least based out of the West, right? If we do things correctly, and if we make sure that we're precise and very calculated with how we do things, and that we put our heart into it. You know, so that's kind of my approach to that.
As a fighting
Black
game,
Voice,
this
ja
means that
stimmt.
we're entering
Warte mal.
into the fighting game community and
Stimmt,
entering
irgendwas
into
habe ich da
a
mitbekommen.
nuance for things like what iframes and move cancellations. And
Aber
hitbox
haben sie das letztes Jahr auch gemacht?
I
Yeah.
am
Das hatte ich nicht mehr so im
arbitrarily
Kopf.
gesturing at this as just a fighting game couch player. Dead or Alive was my game of choice, and I'm no longer good at any of them. But they bring such a nuance, and so what sort of nuance, emergent outcomes do you hope comes from Netcode Warriors, and in terms of how people play and engage with this game?
Yeah. So Netcode Warriors, right? Obviously, there's the stylistic kind of things that we're referencing, but in regards to the gameplay itself, I think that's actually where it shines, or where it's
Hatte ich aber gar nicht mehr so im Kopf letztes Jahr. Ich hatte das Gefühl, letztes Jahr war das bei der Showcase trotzdem auch anders.
You know, usually based on licensed IP, you know, like your famous anime or whatever. But those games are usually designed for a more casual experience. They're not really designed to be competitively deep. It's more about getting to experience your favorite characters and play them in a way that's easy for you to do, and easy for you to switch from character to character and just do really cool stuff and kind of put it down and like had a good time or whatever. And that's not really the design goal here. The design goal here is for you to put hundreds, thousands of hours into, like, the game is like constantly revealing itself to you. And in that kind of design space, arena fighters haven't really had competitive spotlight before. I mean, there's one or two here or there, but they all kind of make compromises to kind of have that conversation with the fighting game community, I would say. And we're kind of looking at things in a sort of a different direction. Obviously, we're trying to incorporate some things like motion inputs are pretty big for us, quarter circles and things like that should just exist more usually in traditional fighting games that tend to not exist in arena fighters. We're putting those in.
Ja gut, I'm sorry, aber das skippen wir jetzt.
Yes, that's the plan.
Rock on.
Yeah.
Sonst mache ich das so eigentlich nicht in Showcases, aber Digga, das skippen wir jetzt. Weil sonst wären wir nicht rechtzeitig fertig.
If you like what we're doing, then scan the QR code and consider supporting the XP Fund, which helps provide grants to underrepresented indie developers to help move their projects across the next stage of development. Now, let's get back to some more trailers.
Digga, ist das schon wieder auf eine Star Fox Anspielung oder was? Coach Eclipse.
Pay attention, adversary.
I can't let it end here. This time will be different.
Digga, Trade-Trace oder was? Oh geil, es ist wirklich Trade-Trace nur im Online-Spielmodus gegen eine Person. Oh lol, okay. Lol, was? Trigger-Alarm? Wieso Trigger-Alarm? Lecky, ich hab gehört, da sehen wir uns. Da sehen wir uns in dem Game. Also in dem Traitorous-Game. Digga, ist der nackt? What the fuck? Und der hat... Digga, der Arme. Der hatte kein... Ja. Dem hat sein Glied gefehlt. Der Unterglied. What the fuck?
It's time for a new hero.
Oh je. Digga, ja, komm, scheiß auf das Tetris, wirklich. Scheiß auf das. Man weiß genau, was ich meine eigentlich. Man weiß, was ich meine.
Be a look into the life of S, which is my alter ego. So it's like a semi-autobiographical game. And S makes these virtual spaces for themselves that they call sanctuaries, out of a wish or a need for a world that is more safe, or for a world that accommodates better for grief and sadness, or for a world where they can imagine versions of themselves that like somehow find a hard time existing in real life. My name is Samuel Baido. I'm 33 years old. I'm based in Antwerp, Belgium. I work as a theater maker.
Last Dragon, and I just wanted to become these kind of characters. So I would start like taking gymnastics and doing kung fu and things like that, just to be the character. And when I translated that energy into like making games, I like realized that not just being a game designer, I could also be a person that creates these sort of action figures or adversaries or even the heroes to allow people to feel like that person I was trying to capture and become myself, you know? So went to school for it. I went to school at Rochester Institute of Technology. I didn't know anything about programming really before that. I took like one class in high school, and RIT was just starting to have a games program.
Wie gesagt, Tetris hin oder her, man weiß, was ich meine, auf jeden Fall.
IT, knowing that they're going to have this game program, and I lined all my classes to be like a good game designer and have them transfer over because I didn't have a whole lot of money to like.
Ihr wisst, dass ich manche Worte oder generell ein paar Worte anders sind und das wird halt anders ausgesprochen.
And even had an internship where they realized there's a specific role for a combat designer, a person who makes the enemies or a person who works on the hero and their interactions. So that was like my first foray into getting into realizing the role of a combat designer.
You said that you took like martial arts classes to that. So what was like, I guess, what was the process of like taking that experience from that and then like applying it to combat design?
Yeah, so like I grew up in like moving my body and understanding like punches and kicks, right? Being able to throw them yourself. And then you sort of get into the space where you're trying to like read your opponent. They're going to start doing punches and kicks. And as I gotten older, I was like, okay, well, I can't just go out fighting everybody. And somehow like you learn this kind of dialogue.
Digga, was ist jetzt los? Hallo?
That I like really just couldn't get enough of, because it's like that movie quote from The Matrix. You don't know somebody until you fight them. Or you can really learn them as you fight them. Like you start to anticipate their movements, you make moves that you're trying to train them to do certain things, right? And that's great in real life, but you can't do that all the time. So I started playing fighting games, and back in the day, you know, PlayStation.
Digga, wenn einfach schon OBS das zu langweilig ist, das Gelaber.
I had like learned when I was growing up. So I started doing like amateur competitive Tekken matches all the way up until college. And in doing that, I learned like frame data and different things too. So it's a little bit of like learning how my body moved, understanding the mechanics of making a good punch, then being able to read that mechanic in the actual games, like how the characters were throwing punches and the frame data and the speed that it happens, that allowed me to take all that knowledge and translate it into these are how we're going to make these characters readable. This is how we're going to make this style feel good. And then there's this meta style to it as well. Of like,
Ist halt
okay,
echt
well,
so.
this is for a person who wants to be a rushdown character or a zoner. This is for the people that like grappling.
Ist halt
And
echt
you
so.
just kind of have your expression. And then as you play your friends, you kind of know their behavior and you're like, okay, he knows that I'm going to do this and I know that he's going to do this. So that's how I counter it. You know? So a little bit of that.
You talked a little bit about it
Kannst ja
being
immer
kind of
darüber
a
sprechen.
dialogue and kind of learning how somebody fought. Like I'm
Ja.
curious to know, what is
Those were good times, you know? Good times.
and every single time I feel like I leave learning something
Ja,
new. So,
sorry,
thank
falls
you
wir
so
da
much
jetzt
for
ein
joining
bisschen
us. Where
überspringen,
can
die
people find you
Showcase, aber
on,
ich hätte
on
das
the
letztes Jahr
Yeah, you can
tatsächlich
find
nicht
me
im
on my
Kopf.
link. Even though I would
Das
be
Gelaber, bin ich euch ehrlich. Obwohl es das gleiche ist, aber er hat es tatsächlich immer im Kopf.
Granny used to tell me all manner of stories about rolling calf and how I'm used to start the countryside. About River Mama and the golden table she had take time guard out by Flatbridge. About the 3-foot horse and him not afraid of moonlight. About Old Hig who a gallivant all night without skin. About Crocodile Man and how you know for answer him if him nap 3 times. She even tell me about the Ladlia Bliss with her 1 cow hoof and wide brim hats. How about how Sly Mongoose teeth out one of the man righteous chicken then?
Bring doch ein bisschen vor nach
those
vorne,
were
wenn
good
dir das
times,
zu
you know?
langweilig ist.
Good times.
Ja. Guter Call, aber ich dachte halt. Ich meine, die Leute geben sich ja halt extra Mühe für die Livestreams und so arschig möchte ich auch nicht sein, aber manche Sachen skippe ich jetzt.
Menacing, tending tenants, fencing, hence the location. Given that I've been living different morals, plural grievances, a legion, relieving numerals to the oracle. Sometimes it sounds horrible. Formulaic, my behavior here to sell a moon consumed dendrites. Not ever living aneurysm combusted. Another term turns families into nothing. For greater good I can understood, I gotta remain afloat. No lane left stain, is it insane how I name my quotes? I speak it to existence, a brief relief condition. Couldn't occupy the sky without permission. As long as the spell cast, my nature ain't your value, have you driven, live in nexus. Authority to the normally, formerly known, shown everything, except for the weapons kept swept under anything, you get it?
Okay, das kommt am Juni raus, okay. Digga, ist das überhaupt noch Musik?
And this
das ist
is Diesel Nights.
Diesel Nikes.
Hi, I'm Indigo Doyle, creative director at Pushing Vertices, located in Toronto, Canada, where we're making Roller Girl, a slice of life adventure about Naomi, a 16-year-old girl in the 2000s, vibing with her rollerblades and her MP3 player. This game is a love letter to my childhood, rollerblading through the quiet streets of my hometown with my own personal soundtrack loaded up. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a secret. I love rollerblading and music. And that's why we spent a long time perfecting the movement in the game to make it feel smooth and purposeful. And when it comes to music, I always have a soundtrack for how I'm feeling. In Roller Girl, the music is linked to the mood of the game. Changing the playlist changes your perception of the world, from happy to sad. The mood influences other characters' responses to you and your dialogue options. Key story moments also impact the mood. We are curating a soundtrack inspired by 2000s pop punk by connecting with local indie bands. So far, we're featuring artists Narima and King Fabs. There's something about the way it feels to effortlessly glide down a smooth street. Your favorite music playing in your earbuds, and for a moment, it's like time stops, and you're just in a flow state.
Ich sag ja, Musik und so Zeug können sie, aber sonst der Rest ist immer so 50-50.
the freedom to explore and learn about yourself as you go. You start the game having just gotten your first car, which breaks down immediately. Desperate for cash to fix it, you lace up your rollerblades and grab your MP3 player. You do odd jobs around town, stumble into a romance, and uncover a juicy town mystery. I don't know about you, but I used to spend a lot of time in my head. Back in the day, I would rollerblade around my hometown inventing backstories for my neighbors. There's a certain charm to small towns, and I can't wait for you to poke around and find the little stories I've hidden behind fences and around corners. Thanks for taking this tour with me, and thank you to the Black Voices in Gaming Showcase. I can't wait to see you find your vibe in Roller Girl.
Oh boy, Gusti Hodi. Roller Girl. Yep.
We are back with Black Voice in Game. You see how that we just like.
Hey, das war doch die Typen von The
With
Mix.
Lizette and Marcus
For the ersten
Montgomery,
Showcase.
Cornerstone Studios, and they are working on your first game as a studio, which is Carrier Cuties. It has like a really interesting premise to it for sure. But I want to know how you guys started Cornerstone Studios, because it's like you guys are like super vets. Even I'm like, just the stuff that you guys have done, it puts me in awe. So can you guys talk about how you started the studio and a little bit about your backgrounds?
Yeah, we're not new to this. We've been doing this for almost 3 decades. Some of us have been doing it for 3 decades. So we've worked in console, AAA, small studios, and we were kind of at a point in our careers where we were trying to figure out what was next. We've worked with the biggest titles and the biggest IPs in the world, so we thought the next step for us was making our own IP and starting our own studio.
That's super awesome. And kind of what led you to, you guys know I'm a big fighting game fan. It's like my favorite genre. I play every fighting game. How did you kind of come up with Okay, so what's the character?
Wie gesagt, sorry, aber heute wird's mal geskippt. Heute wird's mal ein bisschen vorgeskippt.
Our boxer and our boxer. So essentially, the boxer pet is piloting his Humek, as we call it.
Humek.
And essentially, they appear as humans at first, and as you sort of unlock super modes, their robot abilities reveal themselves to you.
That's cool. So you guys have pets, dogs?
Yes, we do.
Because the Scoop, that's notorious. That's when you're like, you're like, what the hell are you doing?
It's time for a bath.
Yeah, it's you gotta handle that. You gotta handle that in pleasant ways. But we really want to pull in the humor as much as we can of the characters that we have. And while this is still early, we want to be able to represent the humor and the character and the humanity of it all. So very much like the classic Power Stone game, you've got dive kicks. You can pick up and push different objects in the world. You can pick up tables, throw them at your opponent. Ooh. There's hazards in the world as well.
Throw your opponent into the stove. If you hit them against that wall, you'll also see the barrels knocked out on them. So you can also use the world to your advantage.
So I have like homemade.
Oh, 23 Uhr wird es dann wieder interessant, dann lieber Chat. 23 Uhr ist Saudi.
This power up, right?
There's power cells, like you
Da wird es
just,
dann definitiv wieder interessanter für mich und für
classic
die anderen auch.
There's power cells that will spawn across the map. And if you're able to pick up 3, you're able to then transform into what would be eventually your pet mech. That's not represented in this prototype build, but that is something that we will have in the future.
Wait, what does that mean? What do you mean?
So currently, when you get your 3 power stones, you stay in your boxer form, but we are debuting a new character with the new build where you're actually going to switch into your pet mech form.
Really?
So you're going to have more pet-like abilities once you get your super move.
Oh, I got deaded.
You can see the pet mech in our current trailer.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, that's awesome. Which we will debut, or we already have debuted. I mean, you guys debuted it, so
You'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
People who were on site at the mix were able to see the actual maquette that I built for it.
Oh, that was cool. So talk a little bit about like the kind of practical creation of the characters.
Yeah, so one of the things when we were talking about what we wanted to do in the studio, I also wanted to change my process of how I created characters and assets, and try to take advantage of, all this new technology we have with photogrammetry. So, and my natural ability to sculpt with physical material and clay. So I'm building all the characters in physical clay, scanning them in using photogrammetry, retopologizing them, and then animating them for combat. And you can also see the visual effects. So we're taking advantage of the style and uniqueness that we get from physical materials, and then also taking advantage of all of the wonderful things that Unreal 5 affords us to kind of push the dynamics and the style and the interactivity of the characters in the world. So it's been, it's a nice mix for me where I get to get physical and use my hands, and then I can get digital and take advantage of, the advantages that come with that.
So how does this differ from when you were at Double Fine? I mean, you've been, like you said, close to 3 decades. How does this differ? I mean, because you wanted to get it more hands-on, but when you were at previous studios, how did you develop art there? Because you were directed and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I started as a character modeler for 12 years and worked my way up until I became an art director.
Ich glaube, die von Sony ging noch eine Stunde dann.
Maybe at the beginning when we're
Also so um 12, sogar glaube ich um 12, halb 1. Machen wir für heute am Feierabend. Ich sag sorry, falls ich heute nicht so aktiv so bin, aber ihr wisst Bescheid, ihr Lieben. Ich bin wenigstens froh, dieses Kampf-Game ist immer noch nicht zu finden. Das gibt's ja nicht, aber das haben sie doch extra vorher angekündigt, dass ihr es auf die Wunschliste setzen könnt. Dann sollen sie sowas aber nicht immer reinschreiben mit Wurzlist oder so ist verfügbar. Dann sollen sie schon Scheiß, aber nicht immer schreiben.
How the game will feel not only
as die anderen Games habe ich ja auch alles immer gefunden.
Play it and then probably animation and like just different mediums. Is that? I guess I'm making assumptions right now.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like the toy element.
Okay,
right? I've worked on games where we.
Warte, war das eine Zahnbürste? What the fuck? Digga, Jesus. Ah, Rabbit! Lecky! Alles, was mit Rabbit zu tun hat, wäre ein Game für Blackie. Ich meinen Namen gehört, ja, da war gerade ein Hasengame. Da wäre wieder so ein Cozy Game für dich gewesen. Ah, das da, ja genau. Ich hab uns kurz wieder gesehen. Digga, was ist das für ein Fiebertraum-Game? Ah, das da. Wieso sieht man das nur eine Sekunde? Die anderen Spiele sind so irrelevant.
Excited for all of them, but like, what was your favorite?
I think my standout would have to be Jay and Silent Bob. I mean, I'm a longtime Jay and Silent Bob fan, so just that nostalgia alone was enough to get me pumped up and excited, for sure.
Valid.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to give a big shout out to all of our devs today, Jesse, Steve-O, and the entire Cornerstone team. Be sure to put a lot of those games, most of those games, on your wish list while you can, and we are going to toss it over back to Justin.
Thank you, Curtis and Lori, for hosting the show. Great to see you guys, and loved those interviews. Love the devs and all the so good.
Dabei sind doch Hasen süß. Ja, das Game sah ja süß aus, aber die haben eher mehr von den anderen Trash Games gezeigt.
Make sure to follow the developers on their socials, wishlist, buy, and play their demos. If you are interested in helping to fund some of those projects that you saw on the show, you could donate to the XP Fund through the QR code on the screen and connect.
Also die hauen sehr oft Werbung rein mit den Donations und so, das merkt man.
We have to give it up to our partners, no rivals. Aurora Broadcasting for being on the ones and twos, Raw Fury for helping to make this thing possible, and our broadcasting partners, Summer Game Fest. Thanks for including us again, Twitch, IGN, GameSpot, and Steam. Make sure to catch all of the other awesome showcases happening this week. There's so many of them. The Latin America Game Showcase, Women-Led Games, Southeast Asia Game Showcase, Frosty Games Fest, Wholesome Direct, Story Rich, Planet Play, India Game Showcase, Day of the Devs, and more. My head's about to pop. Again, I am Justin Woodward, co-founder of Black Voice of Gaming and the Experience Studios platform. See you guys soon, and peace.
Ach, das war's schon. Das war's schon. Ja, easy. Eine halbe Stunde haben wir noch, Chat. Easy. War jetzt nichts Besonderes, aber easy. Easy, easy, easy. Ah, okay. War jetzt nicht das allerbeste. Kriegt einen Daumen nach unten. Nein, Spaß beiseite. War nicht schlecht, aber... Okay, easy, easy. Haben wir das auch durch. Hat man jetzt nicht viel Spiel gesehen, aber okay. Okay, ist okay, ist okay.